Welcome back to the Boondocks Homestead. We're going to make some chicken and dumplings, so don't go nowhere. All right, y'all ready? We're going to make some good old home-cooked chicken and dumplings. My husband's grandmother taught me how to make these. And over the years, I have pretty much perfected them, but they still will never taste as good as hers. But I'm telling you, my husband says they come pretty close to them. So that tells me a lot. So we're going to start out with, you're going to need some flour, all-purpose flour, some water, warm water, some chicken broth. I can my own. Actually, I have rooster broth. And an egg, and then some chicken. Now, I just had we had fried chicken the other night for dinner, and I had a couple of thighs left over, and I like to use the dark meat in my chicken and dumplings because it stays more moist. But you can use the white meat, you can use boiled chicken, canned chicken, whatever kind of chicken you want. And not to even stop there, I have made, thanks to my husband's grandmother, she taught me how to make squirrel dumplings, rabbit and dumplings. You can put anything in it that tastes like chicken, okay? So I've got me a little bit of chicken. I'm just going to make a small batch. When I make them, I usually make this big old pot of them, and then, yeah, so, but not today. Not today, because I've got a lot of stuff to get ready for the farmer's market this weekend. So I've got a little bit of chicken. I'm going to make a small batch, but I'm going to show y'all how to do it. So we're going to start out with, I've got some water cooking. Now, I do use a Teflon pan for my chicken and dumplings. That's probably the only thing I use a Teflon pan for. I do not use my cast iron for this because I don't want them to stick. So I do use this. Now, if I in the event that I didn't have this and all I had was cast iron, I'd make them in there. But I'm not going to make them in there and show you because they might not turn out too pretty, okay? So I've got my water boiling here. I'm going to go ahead and put in some of this, put my egg there so it don't roll off this little stand. I'm going to make sure I always push down on my lid. Anything I can, when I get it out, I always push down and make sure there's a seal. And then you should hear this pop. Hear that? This is from January. I canned this in January. Oh, it smells so good. I mean, you could just drink this. If you're ever sick and you got some of this, oh, that would be good to drink. So I'm going to pour this into my hot water. That's going to be my broth. Not all of it. I'm going to save a little bit of it for this, for the dumplings, to make the dumplings, okay? So let me get this out of my way. I'm sure I should need an apron on. I probably better just get my apron on. Hold on just a minute. All right. One more thing. Hold on. Okay, guys, I had to get my hair up out of my way. Okay, so I'm going to put my egg there. I'm going to start out with, okay, I'm going to try to measure this for y'all. I don't measure very good, so don't hold me to this, okay? But there really is no way you can mess these up, all right? You really can't. Got to keep an eye on my stuff. I don't want it to boil over. We're going to turn it down because it's about to the boiling point. So we'll say a cup, okay? We'll say a cup of flour. I hope you can see me. And I'm going to put a cup of flour. No, we're going to put, there's 1, 2. Now I'm making a small batch. We're going to do 3 cups of flour. Now this is for a smaller batch, okay? I say small batch, it's still going to be a pretty good sized batch. Yeah, 3 cups. 3 cups of flour. And you know, I think I'm going to make a small, no, we're going to do 4 cups of flour. You guys, I can't even make up my mind. Let's do 4 cups, and then I won't have to go get a small egg, and I can just go ahead and use this big egg. So we got some little chickens that's laying small eggs now, and I still use them. They're good. But I use 2 to 1, you know, when I'm cooking something. Okay, so we kind of make a little well in there. All right, I don't know if you can see what I did there. This kind of made a little well, and we're going to drop this egg in the center. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that over your bowl, cracking the egg and doing it over your bowl, do it in another bowl and then pour it in. A lot of people don't like to do that because of shell, but if I see a shell in there, I'm just going to pick it out. But I didn't get no shell in there, so we're good to go. All right, now you are going to need some salt. Let me get some here. I think this is my salt. You're going to pour some salt in here. Pretty good amount, probably half a teaspoon maybe. Okay. Now's where it gets fun, okay? Now we're going to use, and I've washed my hands, so now we're going to use our hands, okay? And we're going to get in here, and we're just going to kind of move this around with our hands. I'm not going to put the camera down here because you know what I'm doing, right? I'm just kind of moving this egg around with my hands, and I'm going to use this first. I'm going to use my broth first, okay? Just a little bit of my broth. I'll tell you what Granny used to do. She used to, when I would be watching her over there, she would be like, now you can just get you a coffee cup. She had a little coffee cup. You can just get you a little bit of this broth, and she'd take it right out of that hot pan, and she'd just pour it in there while she's doing it. And I've done that before, but you gotta be careful because it'll burn your fingers. But anyways, and you just put that around there. Now I'm gonna put the rest of it in there. Now I'm gonna start using some water. And what we're doing is we're just kind of making a dough. I probably just poured too much in there. I just wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Maybe not. But in the event that you do that, you just put some more flour in there. It's not a big deal. No, I didn't put enough. So we're going to put a little more. Got to pay attention to what I'm doing. I don't multitask very good anymore. The older I get, I just don't multitask very good. I used to, and a lot of people that knows me knows that I used to work at 911. Like 20 years ago. Can't believe it's been that long. But I would dispatch fire, law, EMS, be talking, doing a 911 call, doing all this at one time. I couldn't even imagine doing that now. I just couldn't even imagine it. I couldn't do it. I'm just being honest. I could not do it. I don't know what happened to me, y'all. I just got old, I guess. Just got old. It's not my calling anymore. Anyway, so we've made this dough, and I think that's going to be perfect. Let me see. I think maybe when we put it on the board, we're going to get a little more flour, on it, so it'll make it just right, I think. Okay, so I'm going to take it out of the bowl, and I'm going to put it right there for a minute. Let me wash my hands. I'll be right back. All right, now I'm going to let me get this out of my way and get this out of my way. Let me just get some of this stuff out of my way. How about that? I'm going to put my chicken over here, put that over there. I'm going to put me some flour out on my board. I better clean this off a little. That's wet, and my flour will clump up to it, All right, let me get this. Let me go ahead and move this. Y'all, you're just getting to see firsthand how I talk to myself. I do talk to myself, and I do answer myself sometimes. Just the way it is. It's around here where you can see. Now, I'm going to take our ball of dough, make sure my water ain't. And I'm going to put a little flour on that side, put a little flour on this side. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut this in half and put this side over here, and we're going to work with this piece of dough. I really feel like you can't see, but maybe you can. Maybe you can, blow this up and get closer on your camera or your phone, your computer. Now, this was Granny's rolling pin, one of them. I don't know. She may have had more than one. I don't know, but I do know this one was hers. And we're going to put, and that's about all I use this for, is her dumplings. And I've got a couple more over there that I use for other stuff. So, push that to the side. We're going to roll these out. Now, some people like dumplings thin. Some people like them thick. It's just your preference, what you want. I try to do both because I like a little thicker dumpling, and Tim likes a little thinner dumpling. So what I do Let me pull this up. Put some more flour under here. What I do is I put a little bit of both. That's what I do. So this one I'll probably make kind of thin, and the other one I will make, the other piece of dough, I'll do a little bit thicker. So I have just kind of a little bit of each. Because after I do the first batch, I'll put them in I usually put them in the crock pot and keep them all warm. But I may just put them in a bowl because I don't want them to be in the crock pot all day. It's still pretty early morning, and I don't want them to get tough and hard, dried out. I don't want them to dry out. So here I am, opening the drawer with dirty hands. I've got to go get my, hold on just a minute. Okay, you guys, I was just going to go get my little kitchen gadget that I use. It makes little pretty, I'm not going to do that because not everybody has one of those. So, and I don't use it all the time. I just thought, well, that'd be neat. And I was like, no, we'll just use what I got. And this is what I got in my hand. So I'm just going to use this. You can use a knife, a butter knife, a steak knife, any kind of knife. You can use a pizza cutter. You can use a spatula. You can use anything that's got an edge on it, okay? So I'm just going to kind of cut these in wide strips, okay? I like mine a little wider. I don't like them real skinny like noodles. We're wanting rolled out dumplings. Okay. I hope my granddaughter's watching me. Both of them. Because one day they're going to want to make these. I know they will because they like them. So, okay. So after we get them cut out, we got to make sure. I got to put my water back up on high because I turned it down. And get it to boiling. And when it's boiling, we're going to drop these dumplings. Now, I'm going to bring you closer up here so you can see what I'm doing in a minute. And I'm going to show you how she taught me how to stretch these dumplings before you put them in the water. Okay? So basically what it was flour, make a well in it, put your egg in it, put some salt in it, and then you won't get too much or too little, nothing. You can't mess this up, okay? And then you're going to get in there with your hands and work that egg a little bit. And then you're going to put some broth in there. Then you're going to put some water in there, and be careful as you're putting the water in there. Do add a little at a time, okay? Or you'll get too much and then you'll have a wet mess. And then you'll have to add a lot more flour. And then you have to, you may be going back and forth doing that all day. And then that'll be a mess too. So just watch what you're doing when you come to the liquid, okay? And then we're going to roll them out at whatever thickness you want. And then we're going to cut them. After we cut them, we're going to put them in this boiling water, okay? So I'm going to turn you off, and then I'll bring you back, and I'll have you up here close where you can see what I'm doing, okay? All right, guys, I got you down here where you can see what I'm doing. Now, I forgot to tell you that there's one thing that I do that Granny did not teach me to do, and I just picked it up years and years and years ago because I just wanted to get it a little bit thicker, especially if you don't have a fat hen, with a lot of fat, but you can't really find those anymore, okay, unless you're getting them off your farm, but and which we do, and I do can it, but I'm telling you today, I have got, this was store-bought chicken, and I don't do that very often, but we did the fair, and we were hungry, and we went by the store, and we got an already cooked chicken, and so anyways, that's what this is left of, and I didn't want to waste it. I didn't want to throw it away. So that's what I'm going to put in here. I could go in there and get a can of my canned chicken from my chickens off the homestead here, but I'm not going to waste this. I'm going to go ahead and use it. But I still like to put this in it. And what it is a can of cream of mushroom soup. And they make these dumplings so good. I don't know how. I don't know why. But it does. And my water's boiling, so I'm going to put this soup. And I put the whole can in there. Now, she didn't teach me to do this. She didn't, that I know of, she never did this. But it's good. And if you don't want to do it, try them without it. You may like it just as well without it. But we really like it with it. And it just makes them so creamy and good. So then I'm just going to take my whisk, and I'm going to whisk this up real good in here. And you really got to watch this liquid too, because if it boils over, you're going to have a mess on your stove. So just kind of don't take off. See what I just did? Don't take off and leave this, okay? This is something you got to stay with. You can't just take off and leave it. You got to stay with it. But boy, it's so rewarding when you sit down and eat it. It's good. And like I said, I've made squirrel dumplings, rabbit dumplings, all kinds of stuff. Now, my mother-in-law, she taught me how to do blackberry dumplings. I had never done those up until probably about 7-8 years ago. And she taught me how to do them. And they're real easy too. Maybe I'll do some of those one day. But for now, we're just going to do these chicken and dumplings. Now, when this comes back to a boil, and I also put a little pepper in it, you know, and I'll put a little more salt into this. You won't need a whole bunch because I'll tell you why. You've got this soup, you know, any of these canned soups you buy is just full of sodium. You know they are. So you won't need too much salt. We'll put a little bit. And I know when Tim sits down to eat these, he'll be adding more salt to it. But I don't. I don't add a lot of salt. Then I just put some pepper in here. I'll probably start, if I start sneezing, don't think nothing of it. I'm not sick. Not yet anyways. There's a lot of stuff going around though. Okay, now we're just gonna stir this up. Okay. That is almost to a boil. Now I'm going to show you how I stretch them. This is going to be a little longer video. I didn't want it to be, but there's really no shortcut with chicken and dumplings. I mean, you just got to do it. Take your time. I think it's boiling good enough. We're going to do it. Okay, so you're going to get one of your strips, okay? And I did these pretty thin. These are really thin. The next batch won't be that thin. So she taught me, well, she would sit and she would just do this, you guys. She would just line her arm up just like this. And she would, whoops, I made a mess out of that one. Glad y'all can't see that. And she'd just line her arm up, right? And she'd just go to town. And she'd just stand there at the stove and she'd just stretch these and put them in. And stretch and put them in. And stretch them and put them in. I don't know what the deal is with the stretching, but I just follow her instructions and I just do it. And they've always turned out really good, really good. And then we're just going to let these boil. And you can put a lid on them. You're going to have to put them down to a simmer boil, you know, where it's kind of boiling, but it's not going to boil out of your pot. Kind of a simmering boil, if that makes sense to you. I'll show you here in a minute. And I like mine kind of long and wide. This is a really good meal for a cold, well, for any time really, but when it's cold outside, I like to eat it a lot in the fall, you know. It's just, I don't know, it's just a good, like that Chicken Soup for the Soul book. It's just a good, it's a good meal, good hearty meal. Fills you up, makes you warm inside. And as you're doing this too, it'll quit boiling for a little bit, you know, after you put so many dumplings in it. It'll stop boiling for a little bit. Now, as far as I know, you know, people make dumplings different ways. We'll go over that here in a minute. Let me finish putting these in here. Okay. One more, guys. All right. Now I'm just gonna turn this down a little bit. Probably to about right there. and let that get to a simmering boil. And then that's where I'm going to keep it. And I'm going to bring you back when it, we don't want to stir them. Do not stir them. I'm going to turn it down a little bit more. It looks like it's going to try to jump out of the pan here. And just let them do their thing there for a while, and then I'll bring you back when they're about, when they're ready to get out of the pan. I'll show you what they look like. I'll cut them with a fork. I'll show you everything. Let me turn this down just a little bit more. I just don't want them getting up out of that pan because I've done that so many times. Even I couldn't tell you how many times I've done that, and it just goes everywhere. Then you got that big mess, and when you're in a hurry, like I am right now, like I always am, it seems like, then you don't have to clean that mess up. Let me get you down here. Can you see that? That's what you want. And you could put a lid on this, just kind of cock it to the side where that steam can go out the side, okay? And that's what you want until they're done. Now I'm going to bring you back when they get done. I'm going to show you the consistency. I'm going to show you, I'm going to cut them with a fork and show you everything, what you want, when they're done, okay? So don't go nowhere. I'll talk to you in a little bit. All right, guys, I think they're done. It's been about 45 minutes. It's a quarter till, and I told you it was 10 o'clock before I got off with you a while ago. So it took about 45 minutes, and I rolled these pretty thin. And they taste really good. I don't think I am going to go thicker on the next batch. I think I'm just going to do it the same way. Let me get you down here a little bit. Sorry. I want you to see them before I put them in the thing. Here's what they look like. Let me get you closer. All right, I think I got you close enough where you can see. I don't have a rubber spoon to put in here, so I'm trying not to scratch my pan with this, because I start scratching that pan, I'll get rid of it. Okay, here we go. That's what they're going to look like, okay? Now I'm going to cut into one of them. I'm going to try to show you. Oh, they're just kind of, let me get one underneath there. That's what they're going to look like. Okay? And they're just as tender as they can be. And then when you put them in the bowl, here's what I do. I grab one of these bigger spoons here. And I don't want to get a lot of my juice out of here because I'm going to cook my second batch in here, right? So I'm going to grab these and put them in this bowl. And I'm going to make a little bit of a mess. I'll just have to clean it up. Okay. Okay. I'm going to have to get me some different tools for that. So here it is. I don't know if you can see them. Now I'm going to put half. Now I didn't warm this up or nothing. I just pulled this off of the bone this morning before I went to get on the bus. I pulled this off the bone. I'm going to put half of this on here. It's already cooked, guys. It's already cooked. Okay, so I put half of that on there, and I'm just going to kind of, you still don't want to stir your dumplings, okay? You start stirring your dumplings, you're going to have mush, so don't stir them. It's going to kind of toss them around in there real gentle. Okay, then I'm going to get a little bit of juice. Let me get I'm going to put a little bit of juice over it because we don't want them to dry out. Okay. Now, I'm going to move on to the second batch. I'm going to put the lid on these and keep them on there. Keep that on there. And let me put you up here where I can talk to you because I don't like talking to you and not looking at you. That just bothers me. Does that bother anybody else or is it just me? I don't know. Anyway. So, I'm going to put a little bit more water in here. And I'm going to do another roll out the second. I wrapped it up so it wouldn't dry out. My second thing of dough. Put them in there, and I'm going to have a full bowl of these, okay? And then I'll show you what I do then. So don't go nowhere. Stick around. We're almost done, guys. It took 45 minutes. It took another 5 minutes to do what I just did there. So it's 10 till. We should be back here at about 20 till or so, somewhere in there. We'll see how the second batch goes, and I'll let you know, okay? Okay, guys, I got the second batch done, and it was 45 minutes exactly. So I'm going to pull these out of here. I'm not going to strain the juice this time. I'm just going to put it in here with them because we like juicy dumplings. You can probably hear my washer in the background. I'm sorry if you do, but I got to get some clothes going. These turned out really good. And then I'll tell you what I do after well, we'll put this in here first. Go ahead and turn my stuff off. Put these in here. Oh, they look so good. Now I have to leave these out on the counter. I may be able to leave these out on the counter till I go to work, probably. All right. Look at that. I don't want to mess with them too much. I don't want them to fall apart. Do you see them? Oh boy. Look at that. All right, let me get you back up here so I can talk to you for a minute. So what I do is I put a little more pepper. And I put a little more salt, even though Tim's going to salt it, really salt it when he gets a hold of it. And I'm going to put the rest of this chicken in there. Okay. Here's all your chicken. I just didn't want that to go to waste. You know, and two, if you want to kind of toss that around, this works really good. A spatula works really good. And now you can't see what I'm doing. Anyway, you got the gist of it, right? And you've seen what it looks like. So now, here's what I do. I will fix a lot of people's like, well, what do you eat with chicken and dumplings? Well, here's what we eat. It's different sometimes, but for the most of the time, I will fix like some canned green beans or some corn or something. And I will try to have some dinner rolls with it. And I know carbs, but we do the sourdough now, so that helps, I think. And then I will make a creamy salad or something with it, some kind of creamy salad. Tim's grandma used to make this salad with mayonnaise and sugar and oil and salt and pepper. And it was really good. Maybe I'll do that on a video too. And she would toss a head of iceberg lettuce around in it, you know, cut it up and toss it around, and it was really good. So good. So good. And that's what we eat with it. So anyway, I think that's all I had to tell you. I hope that you'd try this. And if you don't know how to make them, don't be intimidated by them. You can do it. You can do it. Anybody can do this. So just get your flour out, get your water out, and get your egg out and get busy. And it took me probably a total of getting everything together, rolling it out, talking to you all, everything, not even 3 hours. Probably 2.5 hours. And I know you're probably thinking, Chris, we ain't got that kind of time. Do it on a weekend when you do have time. You know, you work all through the week. Do it on the weekend. Okay? And listen, we put these in the refrigerator and we eat on them for 2 or 3 days. If we don't give them, we usually give a lot of them away, but we will eat on them for several days. All it is flour and water. It's not going to hurt you. It can be in the refrigerator for a while. Okay? So, you know, and use your common sense. You know, if it looks bad, smells bad, don't put it in your mouth. But really, I have eaten this 3, 4, 5 days later, and it's been fine. It's flour and water. Okay? But it still can go bad. You just got to watch it. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I got a bunch of stuff I've still got to get done. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button and hit the thumbs up on your way out. Lord willing, I will catch you on the next video. Bye.